Vivian opened her eyes and looked at Kirito's arms. Kirito had grabbed her wrist as he stood behind her. She turned back and looked at him. Her hair was safe. He had stopped on her time. He looked at the scissors and took them away. Cutting them? He asked. She quickly turned back and wiped her tears. He clicked his tongue in irritations. Why are you crying? You look pathetic when you cry. Just stop. She laughed. I look pathetic either way, so so it doesn't really makes any difference. At this point, she had lost something much more important than her life from him. She didn't sacrifice her hair, but her self confidence took the toll. The house is mess, the dishes aren't done yet. Seriously? Do real work, stop wasting time. Also, I forgot the file. Find it for me, he ordered. I'll get you into your office. Do you think I will let you into there? I don't want to become a piece of mockery. Just find the file. Do what you are told. She went into the bedroom and looked through his cupboards. Meanwhile, Kirito looked at the scissors and threw them inside the dustbin. Hear me. Vivian held the file in his hand. This is it, right? He snatched the file from her hands and walked out. She watched him leave and got back to the work. Later that afternoon, Kirito sat inside the conference room, thinking to himself. People were discussing about the new plan while he just sat and looked at the glass kept in front of him. Are you crazy? How will you find that? Someone shouted. But he was still mentally in a world elsewhere. They asked for one, so I. You should have rejected them. Can you geeks stop shouting? Kirito shouted, which was pretty ironic. Always whining about something or other. But, sir, what do they want? Which girl? Kirito opened the related file. What the hell is this? No extensions? They have specially mentioned it. Where will we find someone like that? At this rate, we will have to drop this deal. Nope, nobody's dropping any deal in presence of me. Kirito closed the file. Pardon, sir, but what are we supposed to do then? I know someone perfect for it, Kirito smirked. Meanwhile, Vivian came out of the bath while rubbing her head wet with a towel. She dropped herself on the bed and looking at the ceiling. I'll be I'll just be like this. It's a while first, then make a dinner. She lay there and fell asleep. About an hour later, Kirito entered the apartment and looked around. Hey, I'm hungry, he said while walking into the hallway, but he got no reply. He found Vivian sleeping on his bed. Her hair was still wet. His eyebrow frowned and he went towards her. Seriously? Wait. He paused and looked at her wet hair carefully. He picked up the half pink, half blonde bunch of hair. He quickly ran and went to the bathroom and grabbed the diffuser. He dried the hair and combed them till they are end. This is, Kirito said as he looked at her hair, which crawled into the pink blonde lock like a double hex. So pretty. She opened her eyes slowly and looked at him. Then she got up suddenly. Hear me. Welcome back home. She got from the bed. I didn't make a dinner. I'll just wait. He grabbed her hand. She turned back and looked at him. He looked into her eyes. This is this is probably the first time I have seen you without braided hair. He thought as he blushed lightly. Yumi? Vivian said as Kirito looked into her eyes. Can you leave my hand now? I need to tie up my hair and prepare dinner too. Don't tie them, Kirito ordered as he left her hand and got up from the bed. But why? Vivian asked. It makes you less ugly. Anyway, I'm taking a bath. Kirito quickly walked towards the bathroom, then stopped at the door. Also, tomorrow, be ready. Why? She asked. I'll take you somewhere. A date? Vivian's eyes brimmed with sparkle. Kirito paused for an what? Yes. Yay! I'll look for what to eat. Vivian happily hopped into the kitchen. Kirito stood under the shower and looked at his feet like always. I'm not doing something wrong, right? Kirito mumbled as the water flowed down his head. That night, Vivian slept soundly. She was happy. Kirito couldn't sleep and he just lay on the bed. Insomnia want something new to him. There were many nights like this where no matter what he did, he wouldn't fall asleep, yet he closed his eyes in the hope of bit of rest. Vivian got up early morning. She patted a mixture of her face and began cutting the vegetable. Kirito decided to go up from the bed too. He looked at her face. He looked at her face. What have you put on your face? He asked as he looked at her. Vinegar and honey mixed with white clay, she smiled. Are you sure you should apply that? He asked as he went into the bathroom and picked off his toothbrush. It's really good for his skin, she smiled. He began brushing his teeth when Vivian was done with housework. It was about 7 in the morning. We'll be leaving at 8. Go take bath now. Kirito was already dressed. Vivian took a bath and washed off her face back. Touch my face, she shouted as she ran out of the bathroom, dressed in a pink frock. Why? He asked as he looked into his phone. She took her hand and tossed it on her face. It's soft. Kirito looked at her. She tossed his hand on her face. Yeah, maybe. She ran towards the mirror and started brushing her hair. Then she started braiding them. Vivian, let's go. Kirito got up while putting on his blue coat. But I'm not ready yet. Vivian got off half of the braid down. Leave it. You look better with your hair down. Must girl do. Now hurry up. He closed the door. She tossed her cheeks with her fingers. You like my hair, Kirito? She thought as her face turned red and hard. She swirled around with a smile. It felt good to feel so happy over nothing too big. Vivian ran towards the car. I'm here. You are late. Kirito started driving. Kirito, where are we going? She asked. Didn't I tell you not to call me by my name? He said coldly as he looked ahead. She looked at his hands and as he brought it down from the steering wheel to pick up his phone, she gently pressed her hand over his. He shook off her hand. What's into you suddenly? He shouted as he stopped. I just wanted to hold hands. Well, I'm driving. I waited for your hands to be free. Then wait for eternity, freaking idiot. He continued driving. He looked into his phone that location should be nearby. She placed her hand over her rings. Then she looked at Kirito's hand. There was no ring. Hiyumi, where is your ring? It's uncomfortable to wear something on my finger. I kept it aside, he said. Ah, I see. They should have made this lighter. She smiled and looked at her ring. You should stop wearing it too, Kirito said. No, I love it. Even if it were made of thorns, if it proves that you are mine and I'm yours, I would put it on. We're here, get down. He ignored her as he applied the brakes. She looked at the penthouse ahead of her, which reads Alon's studio in English. She got down and Kirito stood before her. Now listen, act properly. You don't have to embarrass me again, do you? No, I don't want you to be angry again. That's better. I won't introduce as you as my wife. Just follow me whatever I say and don't speak until I ask you to. They walked across a wide stone made which stone made way which led to the magnified penthouse ahead of them. Introduce me. Wait, isn't it a date? Vivian stopped and looked at him. He looked at her. Of course it is. This is what a modern Japanese date looks like. I thought I would be just two of us. Vivian looked into his eye. No, that's old fashioned. It's not like that anymore. But I don't like this. Does it look like I care? Just listen to what I say. Yeah, yes. She followed him with her head held down. They entered the penthouse. There was a huge crowd there. People were walking here, there, setting off lights and checking camera setting. A fat man came towards Kirito and shook his hand with, well, hello, Mr. Hirmi. We're almost done with an arrangement, he said in English. It's alright, Mr. Scrupton, Kirito replied in English with a smile while Vivian stood behind him. Oh, so, is this our model? He asked as he peeked at Vivian. Vivian quickly hid behind Kirito and grabbed his coat. Yes, she's just a little bit shy. It's her first time modeling, Kirito said. Yeah, she's beauty. She doesn't seem Japanese. Yes, she's German. Her name is Arya Mari, 20 years old. She recently moved to Japan to set up a modeling career. Vivian looked at Kirito with surprise and looked back at the floor with her eyes all puzzled. Is she married? No. Why are you lying to this man, Kirito? I can't figure you out. We should get her makeup done, Mr. Scrapton proposed. He turned around. Jerry-o! He shouted at the skinny man who was standing near to the photographer with his hand crossed behind his back. Upon hearing his name being called, he turned back and walked towards Mr. Scrapton. Yes, sir, he said. He had a small frame and weak stratus. He had light blonde hair with a purplish blue light highlights and piercing on his ear. He was about same height as Vivian and had hazel blue eye. This is our makeup artist, Jeroboa Hatsuga. He is in charge of your makeup, clothes and hairs for the next 2 days of our shoot. He is 25 too, the same as you. So don't be shy around him, Miss Ariel. You can speak English, right? Mr. Scrapton asked. Vivian remained quiet. Answer him, Arya. Kirito faked a smile. Vivian just nodded her head. That's great. Jeroboa is bad at Japanese, so I was worried, Mr. Scrapton said and started laughing. Vivian looked after Jeroboa, who looked straight into her eyes. She quickly looked down again. He fixed his gaze and examined her thoroughly. Cheap taste, such a waste, he thought. Well, then I'll leave you in the expert's care. Mr. Scrapton patted Vivian's back. Arya, go with him, Kirito ordered. She just grabbed his coat and mumbled, I don't know him. Kirito grabbed her hand, pushed it away with jerk. I know him. Now, do as I say, he whispered into her. But this is not a date. You actually believe that I would go date with someone like you? Who would? He whispered at her ears again. She looked into his cold eyes and walked behind that blondie man. She turned back to look at Kirito. He was looking into the phone. I have always looked at you and you have always been looking somewhere else. You are like dust, I can catch you. I hate you so much, but I know I'm just saying this to make myself feel better. She wanted to cry and cry and cry as she walked behind that stranger. He was covered with the sand and English perfume. Sit here, the blonde man said as he pointed at a chair placed in front of huge, many mirror. Makeup was scattered all over the table in front of it. Vivian quietly sat down on the chair, looked at her reflection with sad eyes. This is not what I wanted. Then what did you want? The blonde man asked as he leaned towards her shoulder from behind and picked up her hairpin. After picking the hairpin, uh, did I speak that out loud? Vivian thought. You didn't. He held the pin between his lips and made a bump on her hair. He tied them up. Well, we'll deal with this later. Let's focus on your makeup first. I'll do your eyebrows. He twisted a fine thread into his between fingers and pressed her head behind on the chair. Wait. Stay still. You don't want me to chop off your entire eyebrow. You can't read my mind, she shouted as she turned towards him. Not really. I read your face. He gently pushed her head back on the chair top. Now stay still. No, you read my mind. Don't lie. She looked into his eyes. Well, your husband lied, so can't I? That's I'm sorry about that. Vivian apologized and bit her lips. It's okay. We all eat lies when our hearts are empty and hungry. What's your name? Jiroboa. Jiroboa Hatsuga. You can call me anything, though I prefer Jericho.